Good morning everybody, and a very warm welcome to Wild Earth this morning here at Djuma Game Reserve in South Africa. My name's Tara, and joining me on camera this morning is Andrew. Back in final control we have Brian and the Thumb, and I'm really excited to see what we can go and find this morning. Another beautiful cloudless day. Oh, it's stunning, but it does have a slight nip in the air. It is signalling autumn is on its way. But we have just found some leopard tracks walking up this road here. I'm just going to go to the junction and just see if we can't find where they veered off. There were some tracks heading down towards the dam, but there's also a couple of tracks heading up as well, which looks slightly fresher. But I think it's worth us just checking around this area, see if we can't find our goose from yesterday. But if some of you were actually on board, oh, that was a lot of fun. It just goes to show how well a leopard can hide. But we had some monkeys calling, and I think our cat popped out from the drainage line on the other side of Gowrie Dam wall, and we were having a look to see where the monkeys were, and we were driving up towards the monkeys, at which point the leopard came out of hiding, walked behind us. I managed to see the footage. It walked behind us, so I'd love to know where that cat was actually hiding, and then went into the long grass. And as I say, we're trying to follow a lot of directions, so we ended up on the other side of the dam. So I said no, towards the fence line, towards the lodge. And as I say, it was really quite a puzzle for me. So we came back on the other side once we realised, no, we were on the wrong side. And looking at the footage, the cat went into the long grass. It looked like it was going to lie down, but actually I think it just did a flick with its tail, but it carried on out of the frame. So it didn't actually stay in that spot. So I think what happened is, as we were looking at the monkeys, it carried on and I think went into the sandy area where I drove around the camera later on, and I think snuck out to maybe the other side of the dam wall again, and that's why we weren't catching up with it. But the monkey was confusing because he kept looking over his shoulder into the drainage line behind him. But as I say, I think that's how it managed to sneak by without being detected again. So then we were driving around for the next 10-15 minutes trying to find a clump of grass where it was still hiding. Ah! And what time was that? Cool. Thanks, John Q. John Q just saying that the cat actually moved about 9:15 over the dam wall. And it sounded like possibly a mating call around that time as well, which would be very cool. But this cat does veer off. So I think these are linked to those ones. There's nothing else to suggest it's last station, Djuma Console. Sorry, not picking up which direction. Copy that, thank you. Yeah, I had some Ngwen consoles going over the Gowrie Dam wall. Okay, so someone's just picked up leopard tracks going south. I wonder if that's the set that came off the dam wall this side, or just before the dam actually. Interesting. Yeah, let's go over and let's maybe head towards Filman's Cup line. So those tracks are heading down Weavers. It could be we've got two cats. Looks like the set coming up this way was female. Possibly the set going down was male. And at some stage I would like to try and get to that hyena den today. For those of you who weren't able to join us on the afternoon drive, I'd like to see if we can get down there to show you. And there's the impala herd. Not too bothered by anything this morning, nice and spaced out. Good morning, ladies. What have you seen this morning? Oh, we got a couple of rams in the herd. They are going to start fighting amongst each other and displaying. And one of the things to look out for is when the males are displaying, they'll actually stand very erect and they'll start licking their lips as well. It's a sign of aggression. Now, as we're driving along, if you do have any questions this morning, then questions@wildearth.tv is where you need to send them through on email, or you can send them through via Twitter, and that's through to #SafariLive. There we go. So these two boys seem to be getting on okay at the moment, but I say it won't be too long before they decide, you know what, we're not very close anymore, we're going to start holding on to a territory. And they'll become rivals. Quite a lot of activity for the impala this morning. Feeding, grooming, toileting, ready to start the day. You're a little one, you're brave. You see the horns of this little male. Now he'll be allowed to stay in the herd. He's not old enough to cause any problems. But year and over, they'll be kicked out the herd by those males. They won't tolerate any males over a year old when the breeding season starts. And that's going to be around March, April, May time. So they'll start gearing up. And it should be fairly soon they'll start gearing up for that. I think the yearlings have already started being pushed out. I'm not seeing any young boys. And I must admit, I do have a soft spot for impala. It's such a pretty antelope. Hi Diane, welcome on board this morning. And Diane wants to know, do leopards breed any time of the year? Yes, they do. But again, a lot of the time you do get young being born around the November, December time when the other animals do have a breeding season and drop all their young, just like the impala. So quite often it seems to be timed for that. You can see this male's already starting that herding process. Not following through on it, but let's say once these males start holding a territory, they won't allow the females to actually move away from his territory. He'll actually act like a sheepdog and actually try and herd the females into the centre of his territory and stop any other males from taking them. Yes, I'm talking about you. Oh, I love impala. There we go. Not too bad, hey guys. 1 or 2 jumping. Got a little bit of cloud coming our way. Which station on England Hangzhou this morning? Is it worth me trying Twin Downs Road for you? I can copy. Sorry, I'm just battling to hear you. It's a little bit soft this morning. Following the tracks, they're heading south, so I think it might be worth us trying Twin Dams Road. But just say thanks to everybody who was trying to help last night, trying to locate that leopard. It really was like a pantomime. He's behind you! I think I was just so fixated on the monkeys. But as I say, it was very odd. There was the one monkey calling, and he wasn't calling very quickly in quick succession, so it was definitely saying it wasn't close by, but the adult wasn't calling, which was throwing me. Train already. Copied that, thank you. Hi JJ, welcome on board this morning. So I think the leopard who went up and over, unfortunately, has crossed over Gary Main, or headed down onto Gary Main. I'll keep my ear to the ground just in case. another look in here, because I do wonder if the leopard popped out and it was the leopard that the Franklins are calling for. So I think it is worth us just having a look here. So it does sound like we did have 2 leopards around here. We just had the one track crossing that way. But JJ's never heard the mating call of a leopard, and can discuss different calls that leopards make. And quite a very. And Andrew was asking me if leopards mate went on air. You must have had a premonition. See, I think snuck out around. We would have seen it crossing over the wall or something. So we were over there while leopard was sneaking out the back here. Sneaky, sneaky. But it just goes to show you when you lose them. That's what was confusing me. How is it we're not seeing this leopard? So it was definitely there, it was just playing hide and seek. This time we couldn't seek. So yeah, you get the typical call, JJ, which is the soaring call. That's the territorial and contact as well over long distances, and that's the apparently you can tell the difference between male and female depending on the number of coughs per cycle. But I have counted them, and females are supposed to be under 4, males are supposed to be over 4. But whether that's true or not, I'm not sure. I have tried to see the leopard when it's calling, but you don't always see it when it is calling. But then they've got, it's almost like a cough when they're contacting their cubs. Whereas the lion, it's kind of a soft oof. 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 A very soft call when they're contacting bits. But even the cough for the leopards is quite soft, but as the cubs get older and they move further from where the female leaves them, the cough gets a bit louder, and then if they're still too far away, that's when she uses the contact call. I'm just having another look in this drainage line just to see if there is any cat around again. And the Birchall's cuckoo calling. And the mating call, well, it's not really a mating call, because it's more like a growl, because when the female is mated by the male, he's got barbs on his penis, so it's very painful for the female, and it's actually that stimulation from the barbs that causes the female to release an egg. So they don't release the egg straight away. So they have to mate it a number of times, and then it stimulates the release of the egg, and then it gets fertilized. And she'll actually growl and turn around and swipe at the male. But when leopards are mating, it tends to take 3 days, sometimes 5 days. So if we do have a mating pair of leopards, the two should be together. Now, we've had the sets of tracks going in different directions, so it could just be that there was a run-in, because if you heard kind of growling and that sort of call, it it could be that they had a running. And as I say, I wonder if there is actually a carcass in here, and our leopard actually went back to the carcass. It came out to drink and then went back to the carcass. It could be possible, but I'm not seeing anything in here again. As I say, it's very annoying because this is all open down here, but I can't get into this section anymore. A couple of buffalo bulls, 3 buffalo bulls settling in for the day. There you go. As I say, it's nice and open here, but we can't actually drive down the wall. It's very steep. I can't get in from that side either. And where we used to get in, this top area, there's actually a huge donga there now, so it's just almost impossible to get in there, which is very frustrating because that's where we need to be to have a look. Now, I did try yesterday trying to get in, but it was like a wall of bush. Oh well, we'll have a see if there's any tracks coming out this side, otherwise we'll carry on Twin Dams Road. And we'll head down to the hyena den and then come back this way. Can you repeat who the last question was from? California, good morning to you. Linda, what time of year do the woodland kingfisher leave the area? And we're coming up to it actually. It's as another buffalo bull on his way down. As we go into autumn, they'll start to move away. We're coming to the end of the breeding season. They actually come back from the centre of Africa for our summer to come and breed. So they tend to arrive around November, December time, and they'll start leaving around the February, March time. Hello, mister. Okay, so I'm just going to take a short drive just along here. His ever-present oxpecker. It's quite a pretty light this morning. I think in the next few days we're going to have a beautiful sunrise for you first thing on drive. Very excited about that. It just got that little bit too high for this morning. We were trying. Caught mid-munch. Oh, shame. Okay, we've got the leopard tracks going that way. So that could be our captain. Over the dam wall, up onto Gowrie and down Freeland's cut line. But there's no cat going this way. I think Twin Dams Road it might be. Hi, Sally. Good morning to you, Wisconsin. welcome on board. And Sally would like to know who this Birchall was that so many birds are named after him. It's not just birds, it's zebra as well. For those of you who might have missed, apparently there has been an update on the zebra. So even though they thought the Birchall zebra were extinct in this area, and they split off the zebra from the east, in the East Africa to the South Africa, they have actually decided now that they're genetically no different, so it's just regional variation. So we are now back with the Birchall zebra this side, can you believe it? So it is still the Birchalls. It's a subspecies of plain zebra, along with the guaca, which is extinct. So the Birchall zebra, and he did a lot of drawings. He was actually a naturalist. I forget where he was from. I think he was British, and quite the explorer, and discovered quite a number of species, so that's why there's a lot of species named after him. So the Birchall's pupil as well, Birchall starling, and he actually did quite a number of drawings. And there's a little flower which we don't get here, but it's bright yellow, and it's called a gonidia, and he actually managed to get a yellow ink from it. And those pictures that contain that yellow ink, the yellow is still very vivid, and they've lasted for years. And I think it was around the 1800s. Maybe someone could do a bit of Googling, because my memory's a little bit fuzzy on Birchall. So maybe someone can just do a little bit of digging for me and just remind me when he was around. I think it was around the 1800s, late 1800s. But I could be lying. I think he was British, but if someone could actually do a bit of digging, that'd be great. There he is! There's our leopard! Oh, fantastic! Now, was it you that was giving us the runaround yesterday? Only took us 12 hours. But you see now why I was getting so confused, because we were supposed to be right on top of the leopard, and even if it was a flat cap, we should have seen something. Oh, fantastic. Okay, I'm just going to pull forward a little bit, because we are actually quite a distance, so I'll pull forward a little bit just to see if we can get over the top of that grass there. Seems to be two-phased. Enjoying the morning sun, as I say. Oh, gone flat cap. That's obviously why we didn't see him when we drove past. But with us being like, I think we were almost on top of it, we should have seen it. Even in that long grass, we should have seen something. Hello, beautiful. Now, this looks like one of the youngsters. And again, in such good condition. Wow. But hopefully you can see why I was getting so confused. Hello, beautiful. Quickly, I think that looked like the quarantine male, but so you guys have been following him a lot longer than me, so if you can send through your IDs and questions at WildEarthTV, or hashtag Safari Live. And some beautiful light on him this morning. I just happened to see the dark triangle underneath his eye, or what looked to be the dark triangle underneath his eye. Whereas his brother seems to have a row of spots underneath his eye. Now, fairly soon it's going to start getting quite hot, so I don't doubt this leopard's going to start moving at some stage. Stations Waningway, South Gary Dam, Twin Dams Road. Oh, maybe not. Oh, yeah, no it is, yeah. You see that triangle now. And getting confirmation from everybody as well. Ooh, what are you smelling, boy? Hopefully the shot that you need. Beautiful boy. So thanks for that information, William John Birchall. I was in South Africa the early 1800s and collected, was it 50,000 species? Wow, 50,000 species. That's quite incredible. I didn't realise it was that many. Hence there's so many animals. Ooh. What's caught your attention, buddy? Some birds calling behind us. That could be what is catching his attention. Can you just maybe just turn around and just check, see what those birds are calling about? Because it could be they're seeing him and they calling, or they could be seeing something else. Hi Colleen, welcome on board this morning. And I hope you're enjoying your evening dinner with the quarantine male leopard on your screen. It's so wonderful to see a leopard. Oh, I hope you guys are enjoying it. After 12 hours of searching, we finally found him. Colleen wants to know, do big cats purr like the common house cat does? And they're not capable of it. Oh, nice. The smaller cats. Big cats aren't, there we go. It's just getting a little bit too warm. Yeah, no, beautiful boy. It looks like who's actually going to the toilet there. Yeah, I've got this one ingwe close to Gary Down. Close to Gary Down. No problem. Pull in. He's now mobile south. You can hear the squirrels picking him up. Oh, he came to say hello. He was also toileting underneath the bush. Apparently it's going to be one of the places that they like to go to the toilet. And he's going to start using those cheek glands to rub on the tree by the looks of it. It looks like somebody else has been there. Now it could possibly be that the other cat was a male, and it could possibly be that he ran into this male, and maybe that's what you heard, was the two having a bit of a standoff. See, having a really good sniff there. Wonder who's been there. And look at that black tip on the end of the tail. As I say, I've never noticed it before, but on the leopards that I'm researching, that was the first time I've actually seen it. It's right on the tip of the tail, is that black spot. And generally it's white. So, he's visited the message board. So where's your mother, mister? Oh, there's a toilet stop. Now you can generally guesstimate when a leopard is actually eaten, judging by the scat. So if the scat is runny and it's very dark, it contains a lot of blood, and that's fairly soon after they've eaten. As you get maybe a day or two later, the scat starts becoming a lot more solid, and it may still be fairly dark, it may still contain quite a bit of blood, but it will be a lot more solid. I mean, a lighter scat, not as much blood content, but then you start getting hair and bone fragments. Now we know he's been eating. Yeah, you can smell it. Oh wow, it is quite strong. If I can just reverse back a little bit, see if you can have a quick look. You okay there? Can you see it? I'll move my head out of the way. There we go. There we go. So very fresh leopard dung. So this one has actually got a lot of blood in it, because remember he has had a bush buck, probably finished eating some of it about a day and a half ago. Oh, he's slinking off into the bush here. Monkeys. You can see he's actually holding his tail up, just like, yeah, look, I'm here, you've seen me. Maybe we can see the monkeys. They're in the tree at the back. Copy, no worries. And he is starting to scent mark. There's the monkey. I can see the monkey in the tree. I'm watching him quite intently this time. So if he's starting to mark territory, his father and Vula might not appreciate that. He might start pushing him out. But as we saw with Yambidi Ordan, when Induna started scent marking, he didn't push him out. So it could be... Can you smell the popcorn? Oh, I got it then. Slightly sweet, it's that popcorn smell. Oh, these monkeys are going absolutely wild in the tree. Welcome back. We're still with this beautiful cat. We're going to follow him for a little bit, see where he ends up, see what he gets up to. Because also, just by following them, you do learn quite a bit more about the way they think in particular. Actually, I think we'll just follow behind him just in case, because this bush does get quite thick. I wonder if he isn't going to go back to that thicket. He seemed to like that thicket. Oh, that was his brother actually thinking about it, Djuma. So for those of you who might just be joining us for the very first time, or might not have met this boy before, this is the quarantine male. Oh, I just saw, I think it was a bushbuck actually, run off just ahead. You see, look, he's still waving his tail around saying, no, I'm not hungry. And he's not. He's, unless he comes across an opportunity, he's not likely to do too much hunting, because he has had a bushbuck very recently, so he's still going to be nice and full. And that'll last him probably a good 2 or 3 days more. There we go, and he's changing direction again. Monkeys are still going, so you can see the distance that they'll still follow. Yeah, maybe you just picked up that bushbuck that ran off. The road again, so he did just cut out that corner. So the quarantine male is the son of Karula, who is our resident female leopard in this area, and he is the fourth litter from the fourth litter of Karula. His brother is also around. We did see him a few days ago, Djuma. And they're coming up for about 2 years old. She has had another litter. I think they were born around November. No, it might have been a bit earlier actually. Someone might be able to help me with that. I'm not sure how old they were thinking about it. Was it November? No, it could have been November actually. Hi, Matt in Texas. Welcome on board this morning. Matt would like to know about the melanistic leopards, the leopards that are black. And the yellow fur actually has a lot of melanin, the yellow part of the fur, so they look completely black, but if you see them in the sunlight, they actually show the black spots. It's quite amazing. Matt would like to know how common they are in Africa, and have I ever seen one during my studying of the leopards. And where I'm studying is supposed to be one of the hot spots. There's two hot spots in the African continent, and the hot spots are around where I'm studying, and also Tanzania, apparently, Kenya, Tanzania way. So we actually do rival that area for the number of sightings, and the number of sightings is around 43 now, confirmed sightings this is. Somebody's gone out and spoken to the people, and they've actually spoken about what they've seen, and it has been confirmed as a black leopard. So around 43 in the last 60 years, and that is actually quite a lot. You might get one or two throughout the continent just popping up, but the amount of sightings you don't get like the two hotspots do. But also we've now been getting a lot more of the strawberry leopard, which is the opposite. So there's not a lot of pigmentation, so the black spots are brown and the yellow is actually quite pale. Now you can see the quarantine male leopard here. Those black spots very dark, and the yellow is this beautiful golden colour. They really are such a pretty cat, and he is in such good condition, my word. But his mother has definitely given him some good genes, and it looks like he's got those pale eyes of his father as well. Mvula's got blue eyes, really quite pretty. But you can see he's still got that cub feature about him. When I first saw him, he did have that cub face. But as I say, usually around 2 years old, here in the sands, they do seem to stay a bit longer than other leopards. Where I'm studying leopards, they seem to leave around the 1.5 year mark. But the leopards here seem to stay on just that little bit longer. And as I say, it is unusual to have the female have the cubs, but what I saw where I'm studying, the one male, so the female who's dominant in my area, the one male actually left around the 1.5 year mark. The other male was not very good at hunting, and he stayed until he was almost 2. I think it was just under 2 years old. But she had cubs in that time, so I think maybe it does happen a little bit more regularly than what we realise. And it is almost this understanding that the cubs become comfortable with their ability and then they move on. So it's not so much the female pushing them away, it is this understanding. And it is almost like the males seem to tolerate them in this area, and I think that's what's happening on my side as well. Now what the difference is that where I'm studying the leopards, they fall outside formerly protected areas like the Sabi Sand. So these cats have been protected from the hunter's rifle for a good 50-60 years. Whereas where I am, they can still get permits to shoot leopards. Luckily, the reserve, we've got a small reserve, about 5,500 hectares, which is not large enough to hold the leopards, and no fence will keep a leopard in. So leopards do go over fences, under fences, even through fences. And that's what makes them the last of the free roaming of the big five. And it does make them vulnerable as well. But we're almost like a little island. And that area is protected, and all around permits can be sought after if they want them. I think it's Kaya. Has been mobile static now. Oh, there was dwarf mongoose just up ahead of him. There it is. Just on the termite mound, just in front of him. I don't hear their alarm calls. I don't think they know he's there. Oh, it could actually be a squirrel. I just saw movement. It looked dark, but it's a squirrel, yeah. He seems to have a like for squirrels. Well, while we're in this stalemate, hi, Andrene. Welcome aboard this morning. And Andrene would like to know if animals have specific alarm calls for specific predators, and some do. Some it's a generalization for any predator, but the monkeys have a dialect for aerial predators and ground predators. The mongoose, the social mongoose, which is what I thought this was, but it does look like it is a squirrel. I thought there was two animals as well, but I think it is just the one. But I don't think this squirrel is actually aware, because the squirrel hasn't given an alarm call. As far as I know, the squirrel is just the same for any predator. But dwarf mongoose and meerkats do have some form of dialect. Oh, not quick enough, buddy. He might just try and climb the tree, so now he's made his charge. Let's see if we can get a bit closer. But I'm amazed this squirrel hasn't actually given an alarm call. That really is quite amazing. I'd expect it to be shouting extremely loud right now. See that tail twitching. They're just like your common house cat. They can't help but show their excitement with the tail. Actually, there's not much place for me to manoeuvre. It's just behind the termite mound. Let's see if I can actually just pull in here. Still trying to work out how to get in there. Ah, okay. Are you just going through the motions? I didn't see anything come out. But yeah, the squirrel hasn't given the alarm call at all. Tail twitcher. And as I say, it was a little bit of a half-hearted attempt as well. But as I say, he doesn't have to give a full-hearted attempt unless he really feels that it's going to pay off. Because he does have a full belly of bushbuck at the moment. He did feed on it. I think he probably finished it about yesterday morning. Because apparently he was still there, so I think he had the remains of it. Hi Jennifer. Interesting question. Why are the heels of the feet so high? And it is to help when they charging. If they have a very flat foot, it's going to be quite slow. So for an animal to actually run and run fast, they need very little contacting the ground. So if you think about ostrich, their toes have actually modified. So they have one big toe and one small toe, and that allows them to run extremely fast. The same with the antelope. They walk, or they have the hoofs, so they walk right on the tip of the toes, and the hooves obviously help to keep those pressure points, or the pressure on the ground, very small, just like a stiletto's heel and a big fat shoe. The pressure going into the ground is all on the one point, so it actually helps to dig into the ground a lot more. And just like the spikes of a running shoe, it helps to keep them stable on the ground as well. But as I say, that you can see the amount of foot that actually contacts the ground is very small. And as I say, just actually having that small area pressing into the ground just helps to give them that speed. More than welcome. Found bring towards Filmer's Dip now. The Filmer's Dip. Let's say if you've got quite a lot of foot on the ground, you run a lot slower. That's why if you think about when we run, we actually raise off our foot and actually run on the tips of our toes. It's the same thing, and as I say, you need that pressure, the small amount of area, so the pressure is much greater on the ground. So the stance that the cats have is known as digitigrade. The digitigrade actually means that they walk on their digits, so they walk on the tips of the toes. Plantigrade means they walk on the flat of the foot, so we are plantigrade, so we have the whole of our foot plus our toes. And then you have the ungulates, which are the hoofed mammals, and they walk literally on the tips, on their what would be their nails. There we go, another scent marking there. But I'm not actually seeing anything coming out. Fine, but I'm not seeing anything now. Could get that slight popcorn smell. But it was very faint, so maybe that's why he's going through the motions, but he's not actually scenting, and maybe that's why he's being tolerated. So it could have been somebody else's scent that I was picking up, because it was very faint. Because I thought it should have been a lot stronger. Hi Faye, welcome on board this morning. All the way from Washington. So it'll be good evening to you. And I hope wherever you are in the world you're enjoying our live safari this morning, following the quarantine male and just enjoying watching the behaviour. This is one of the things I love, is just following animals and actually watching their behaviour. You can pick up so much and understand the way that they actually think. You can see he's walking on the road, doesn't have to worry about wasting energy bashing his way through the bush. And there are highways getting them from A to B, and you can see all the way around him as well. They're nice and open, so he doesn't need to hide at this stage. But Faye would like to know what's the white for on the backs of the ears. Oh, he's seen something. He definitely seems to like the small mammals. I think that there's a termite mound to his right where there could be some dwarf mongoose. There could be another squirrel there. What have you found, buddy? Oh, there's a hole there. Worth investigating. But those ears are very important in cat language. So when the ears are flat, and again, if you think about your cat back home, they talk a lot with the ears and the eyes and the tail especially. And the tail also has the white on the back. So it's just to increase that visual language, so that there's no mistake. That white and black, very vivid. So if the ears are flat, there's no mistaking it. It's also possible that the white tip on the tail is for the females. When she has cubs, the cubs they'll often follow the white tip. So as she moves through the bush, they just focus on the white tip and they can follow her. Now you can see his belly's not very extended, so he has been digesting that meal fairly quickly. But as I say, to hunt for another few days. That bushbuck's going to seem okay for a few days, but they are highly opportunistic cats, so if he does happen to see something, he might just take the opportunity. But that could be why you weren't smelling the popcorn, because it wasn't him, even though we watched his scent mark. As I say, it should have been a lot stronger than what it was. Now you can see he's keeping his tail very low now, keeping it out of sight. Hear the grey go-away birds calling. We've seen another squirrel. The wind is starting to pick up a little bit, but it's blowing towards us. So it's got the wind direction right. So the scent shouldn't go towards whatever it is that he's watching. I'm struggling to see what it is he is actually watching. Are you giving up or are you trying the other side? Nope, giving up. Yeah, affirmative. Is Fambring towards you? So today he wants to be seen. Just goes to show. So some days they don't want to be seen. And obviously yesterday was one of those days. Hi Marion in Texas, welcome on board this morning. Marion would like to know if the leopard has a plan or if he's just wandering around. And it's difficult to say. It looks like he has an idea of where he wants to go, but he's open to opportunity, so he's quite happy to see what smells come his way by the looks of it. And again, that is typical leopard. And obviously this is their home, so they'll know they'll have their spots that they like. They'll have the particular trees that they might like to rest in. Yeah, affirmative. Oh, look at that. Obviously feeling very comfortable, exposing his belly, just like your typical house cat. They will not do that unless they feel comfortable. Very cool. Good morning to you, Elizabeth in Minnesota. And Elizabeth wanting to know, has there been any update on Karula's second and third litter? So for those of you who might be meeting this beautiful, beautiful male leopard for the first time, this is the quarantine male. And here's the fourth litter from Karula, along with his brother, Kanyuma, sorry, I will get to pronounce the name right. So Djuma and his brother, roughly for about 2 years old, and they were fathered by Mvula. But Karula's second litter was Mishu and Duna, fathered by Yambi Jordan, who sadly is no longer with us. Old age got to him. But I haven't heard of where Mishu and Duna are. And Duna actually stayed in this area for quite a long time, at least past him being 3 years old, and we saw him interacting with his father. And actually Karula's third litter, Shavinzi and Shavambalana. And that's who I was actually lucky enough to be witness to, the mating between Karula and Yambili Jordan right outside my bedroom window. And I only saw it because Karula actually called. She made a contact call as she walked outside on the footpath outside my room. And I was so excited to hear the contact call. I looked out the front, couldn't see anything, and I looked out the side window, and it was just a mosquito gauze covering my window. And she literally stepped out from the shadow into the moonlight, probably about 3, maybe 4 meters away from the window tops. And the male actually stepped out of the shadow as well, covered her, and she turned around and swiped at him. And then they were gone. It was just absolutely incredible. And then we were able to actually catch up with them. I think Mark actually caught up with them on drive the next day, and confirmed it was Yambili Jordan mating with her. But Shivanzi and Shavambalana, again Shavambalana stayed for quite a while. Morning! Morning. Good to see you! Morning. Long time. Sorry? Thanks for these ones. Oh, no worries. Do you want to follow him? No, I'll come behind him. It's alright, you can go ahead. We've been watching him for quite a while. We'll see where he goes, and then yeah, we might carry on. I'm just gonna pull forward a little bit. Yeah, we'll stay behind you for a little bit as well. See what he gets up to. So Shavambalana also stayed on a little bit longer than his sister. His sister seemed to become independent very quickly, and she left the area around just over a year old. But we don't know what happened to her. There hasn't been any more sightings of her since then. It could be that she didn't make it, but her brother did last a lot longer. But as I say, I've not heard of anything else. But you guys who do follow them, maybe could give us an update, because I've not really heard much about the older cubs recently. I think Mishu actually did go north, and then he ended up west, and I think he's now in the west around Nyati, but I could be wrong. And Duna as well, I think, started spreading his wings. But it would be interesting to know where they went. Obviously the sand is quite soft and relaxing this morning. Let's say we'll see if we can stay with him for a little bit longer for you. Hi Kathy in Tennessee, welcome on board, just joining us. Wanting to know who this is. This is the quarantine male. And I think this is the male that was leading us on a wild goose chase yesterday. But welcome on board, and it is wonderful to spend some time with this beautiful boy. And he's so relaxed, it is fantastic. So the quarantine male, and if you have a look down his back, I'm just going to roll forward a little bit again. just so we can see that stripe that Kathy's asking about. The stripe down his back, is that normal of leopards or is that unique just to him? And I've actually seen it a lot in leopards. So there seems to be that row of 2 spots, and where those spots fall will be unique to the leopard, but they do seem to form this stripe almost down the back and onto the tail. But sometimes the spots on the back are actually directly opposite each other and very neat, and sometimes they just offset. But it does start around the top of the hindquarters, and I have noticed that quite often from the camera trap pictures that I get of my leopards. Unfortunately, I'm not as lucky as we are here in the Sabi Sands to see the leopards. I rely on the camera traps to be my eyes. Occasionally we do see them, but I always think, well, I'm quite glad they're not too used to humans, because if they're too used to humans, then unfortunately the rifle will be able to see them very easily as well. So we'll see what he does at this junction, because I still would like to head down to the hyena den, so we might just say goodbye to him at this junction. Going to go for a drink by the looks of it. Okay, he's actually just behind that bush on your screen, but won't be able to move any further forward. But Beth and Tim, welcome on board this morning. Beth and Tim were wanting to know it's just popped out my head. Sorry, can you repeat the question? It just popped out my head. Ah, there we go. Do leopards have to worry about getting cornered by a lion or hyena? And they can. They do have to be careful. But they're obviously extremely good climbers. So they will climb any tree to get away from the approach of a hyena or a lion, or approaching hyena or a lion. But lions can also climb trees fairly well. Hyenas can't climb trees, but lions can. So if it's quite a thick tree and the lion has something the leopard has something the lion wants, then there is a possibility that they will climb the tree after it. He's just sat up, he's just heard something. I don't want to switch the vehicle on and disturb him. play with the keys, just to let him know that I'm just about to turn the vehicle on. Okay, it's actually gone back down to drink. So sometimes it's just that turning on the vehicle that startles them. Get a view of him for you while he's drinking. And great to know that you're all enjoying Andrew's camera work this morning. Hi MS Gin. Welcome on board this morning. So you're going to see if we can try and get a different view for you. Can you see him over there or not? Nope.
It's too thick.
It is just a bit too thick. But he's literally just behind the trees there. Let's see if we can actually reverse for you and not get slow from there. There we go. Can you see him there? Oh, love it.
Try get in front of him somehow.
That's usually the plan. It doesn't always work. So you have to be quite careful, especially when they're walking down the roads like this.
Yeah.
Because if you try and overtake them, sometimes they can get a bit spooked and you can actually change their behaviour and then they go off into the bush. About 40 kilos. Yeah, he's still a little bit small. Maybe about 45. I think he's a little bit taller than Karula. But you can definitely see he's still got that cub look about him. Just see where he's gonna go. Because you also don't want to block off their view as well. Because if you try and get in front of them too much and too often, you can block off, because if they are looking for a hunting opportunity, you could potentially change that. I might get an opportunity here. Are you going to carry on?
On the road, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
No worries. Do you want to go ahead again?
No, you go ahead. I'll come.
Okay. Just see. Vegetation opens out a little bit here. We might have an opportunity to at least pull alongside him. Hi, Kathy in Indiana. Kathy would like to know, how do cats drink, or how does leopard drink? And it is lapping the water. They don't suck it, they do lap it. Another toilet stop. So I think I was halfway through answering another question, just as I was trying to get another view of him around by the water for you. But female leopards actually don't really need to teach their cubs how to climb a tree. It comes naturally, and they can climb trees from quite an early age. I think they already start when they probably about 3 weeks to 4 weeks old. Certainly by 2 months they can climb trees fairly well. Do you want to go ahead? Well, he's heading in the general direction of where the hyena den is, so we might as well stay with him until we turn off. Hi, Arquette in Arkansas. Welcome on board this morning. Hope you're enjoying watching the quarantine male. It's really nice just to see some of this behaviour coming through from him. Here we go, he's got his tail up again. Someone might have just seen him. You can see he was actually starting to go flat, and then all of a sudden, no, I wasn't interested, I promise you. Holding his tail high again. But I kept wanting to know if I've ever seen a big cat jumping on the bonnet of a vehicle, one that I've been watching or another one, and no, I haven't. Not here in the sands or anywhere else that I've worked. And one of the ways we do make sure that doesn't happen, if there is a cat that looks, they're too inquisitive. You can see they get very close to the vehicle, but you can still see that they're very wary. But if there's an individual that's just starting to push those boundaries, you need to make sure that you reiterate that line, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing now. It would be too dangerous to drive around with cats that no longer respect that boundary with the vehicles, because then you would get a cat just jumping in with the guests and potentially killing them. So instead, if you do get a cat and they start putting, say, the paw on the side of the vehicle, that's starting to cross the line, and you need to reiterate, look, that's not acceptable. If they're sniffing the tyres, that sort of thing, that's fine. But once they start putting a paw on the vehicle, so either you need to say, hey, no, or you roll the vehicle forward slightly. You just make it so that they suddenly realise, oh no, I don't like that. What just happened there? I don't like it. But not enough to actually really scare them, but just, that's why either just rolling the vehicle slightly just makes them remember, actually, no, that's not a line to cross. And to keep that respect there, that's why we can have the open vehicles and we can follow the animals like we can, even with the lions. And also they've got enough food out here, so they don't need to push that boundary. Yeah, there's no reason for them to actually attack people in the vehicles. It's not prey that they recognise, it's not prey that they're used to. So they don't need to, you know, even look at us as if we're prey. Franklin's behind us. And it's nice to see the reactions of the animals as he's walking. There were some go-away birds that were in the tree earlier who didn't give an alarm call, but while he was drinking they were giving an alarm call. Very interesting. Possibly because he was stationary, whereas when he was walking he was clearly not even paying them any attention, going underneath the tree. But the squirrel and the monkeys were giving alarm calls, and they kept giving the alarm call for quite a distance. So looking at something again. Just going to pull forward a little bit. You can see his Sorry, were you radioing me?
No, I was saying if you want to move forward, it wouldn't work.
Oh, it's fine. We'll just wait for him to move. Yeah, my radio's playing up quite a bit, so I'm struggling.
Also not great.
Yeah. Has there been any update on the Birmingham Pride?
Somebody said they were on the west yesterday.
Oh, still on the west?
Yeah, the update is that they're on the west, but I'm not sure which property.
Oh, okay.
Not Aratuza, but I think west from there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and this morning I think Matimba camped across back to the south again by Annette's area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, some of the 2 sticks female.
Oh, 2 sticks and 2 Matimbas.
Yeah.
Okay. Someone was asking if Blondie came back to the Birmingham Pride, because someone was saying they were up to 5 again. So has Blondie joined them again?
I'm not sure, but that would be great because last time we saw them with 4 of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so Blondie must have joined them then.
Yeah, which is great.
Okay, cool.
So
He's such a beautiful male, hey? Sure.
Yeah.
He's such a beautiful cat.
He's so cool, eh? But the Djuma, I don't see him really.
We think we had him just as I arrived last week,
Okay.
and he was heading towards Inga's house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, actually. They grew up strongly.
Yeah, definitely, hey?
So they're going to be around a few years. That's going to be nice.
Yeah. And I think Karuna, she was it you that saw her on the quarantine?
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Right on where I saw you there, where I found you, right there.
Ah, sure.
So she cut straight into the block.
Okay, so because I was looking around here yesterday and couldn't see any signs.
There's the tracks from yesterday, but yeah, somewhere around Chillicut line, cutting straight west into position of Beversuit Dam.
Oh, okay.
That side, yeah.
Okay. So it might be worth checking around that area. Yeah. Okay.
It's really cool cat.
Yeah, definitely. And I heard about Tandy's cub as well, unfortunately.
Yeah, one of them get killed, and we still. I haven't.
But no one knows how. Hey, how
No, nobody knows because Ephraim.
How old was it?
Well, 4 months. I think.
About 4 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the baby is still young.
Yeah.
And, what happened? They found the hyena feeding on the cubs, but nobody knows. Some say Ephraim said it was already stinged. So probably I don't know what
Yeah,
happened.
because it got taken to the Mbisi Kai, didn't it?
So
It got taken to the
taken it
Mbisi.
away
Yeah.
when I saw the footage, but
Yeah.
that afternoon I drove and then I went past by BC Kai, there was nothing.
Yeah.
There's only one BC lying down there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to make a turn around there a bit later, I think.
Yeah.
So.
And now I'm hoping to find her because I haven't seen her. And I just want to see how the other one is.
Yeah.
The other cubs.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Are you guys going to go ahead?
No, go ahead.
You sure?
I'll come behind. Yeah.
Sure. Oh, sorry. Send that again. I'd like to see a track. So just getting an update from Andrew. It's the first time I was able to really have a chat with one of the guides. So just trying to find out some of the questions that you guys were asking. And apparently Blondie might well have joined the Birmingham Pride to make up the 5. And he was saying, some of you might not have heard, Tandy's lost one of her cubs, and apparently the cubs are about 4 months old. But they're not sure what killed it. They found a hyena feeding on it, but apparently when it was found it was already smelling, so they're not sure if a hyena killed it or something else killed it. But yeah, just to confirm about that. But Andrew's saying he's really hoping to go and find Tandy, because she still has another cub, so he'd like to know if the other cub's okay. He's just pulled off into the bush there. I'm just going to go a bit further forward. Let's see if we can see a track. Can you see any nice tracks there, actually? Just pulling alongside here. Sorry, I missed the word after relatives. Ah. Hi, Lee. Lee wants to know how many leopards are in the Sabi Sands, and I'm actually not too sure. I think last count in the Greater Kruger, I think it was about 5,000, but maybe someone can check those numbers for me. I think that would have been about 3 years ago, so it'd be nice to know if it's fluctuated. So I'm just staying behind the cat, just in case if I drive forward we spook whatever it is that he's watching. Because that's part of viewing an animal, is actually to try and limit the impact on its life as much as possible. So you have to just try and keep in mind, if you place the vehicle somewhere, are you going to interfere with either a hunt or a potential hunt? If you drive forward, are you going to scare the animal? Now, a lot of the animals are very used to hearing the vehicles, so that's why driving around and staying behind the cat, we shouldn't impact on what's going on up ahead, but if we drive too far forward, we could potentially change something that's going on in the bush here. But it could just be that he's just watching at this stage. His ears are forward, his tail's not twitching, so I think he might have seen something, but maybe it's moved off. Oh, but he is in such good condition, he really is. Time to move on again. Or are you going to find a bush to go and sleep under now? It is starting to get warm. And he's going through quite a nice sandy patch. So we'll have to see if we can get a look at his tracks for you. Don't mind the termite mound. Okay, using the termite mound, he could be using it to try and get some height. Have a better view of what's going on. Just okay. You might just, if you can have a look on the side here, just see if there's any tracks. Just coming back. What a lovely way to spend the morning, strolling behind a leopard. I say, if I do get another opportunity to try and get ahead of him, I will. As long as it's not going to impact on him. Okay, we've got some tracks on the road here, so maybe we can have a quick look while he's pausing. Can you see them down the road?
Can't see any clear ones.
Yeah, there's a couple there, but let me just see if I can put a little bit more. Just to the side. As I say, unfortunately, it is very thin substrate, so it's not registering brilliantly. You might just be able to see on the road there. Just opposite us, directly opposite us.
To be honest, there's no nice ones here.
If you zoom in, I think I can see one. Let's see if I can try and guide you. Yeah, just to the left of your screen. Yeah. Just there, yeah, you've got it almost centered now. So where the shadow is, yeah, if you zoom in a little bit more, there you go, yeah. So it's not coming out brilliantly because it is very thin substrate. If I can show those of you who haven't seen a leopard track before, if I can show you from the book. Ah, look at that, opens on the leopard. Maybe if I actually have it like that, so we've still got the leopard in the shot. Oh, I was going to say, if you... Okay, so we've got the toes here, and then we've got the back pad here with the 3 lobes. So if you want to maybe just zoom out, we've got, I'll hold it up so we've got the leopard in shot as well, there you go. So this is what we've been following. And it's wonderful to have the cat. Hi Jeffrey, all the way from Texas. Good morning to you. Welcome on board. And Jeffrey would like to know if leopards play with their food like house cats do. And sometimes they can. Some of you might remember the sighting that we had within Djuma. And that was quite incredible to see. It was a baby monkey. And we're still not sure if he was trying to entice the adults down or just playing with the food, because he was being so gentle with it as well. But the adult monkeys were really making quite a noise. So I followed where the monkeys were calling from. And as we got into the drainage line, literally where we went in yesterday morning, that was where it happened. Yeah, go for it. And literally as we got there, we had Induna actually catch the baby monkey, and he brought it out into the open, and as I say, he was actually playing with it, but he wasn't using his claws. This is the thing that I just found so incredible. He didn't use his claws, and every time he picked it up, he was actually being quite gentle. He picked up around the back of the neck, and there was 2 or 3 opportunities that if the baby monkey had actually been strong enough, it could have got away. And I know it was quite a difficult sighting for a lot of people to watch, because it was a baby and it was a monkey, and being primates, we do have an affinity, especially to the baby primates. But what we've got to remember is that leopards do eat monkeys. On occasion they've been known to kill the mother and then actually adopt the baby. But very occasionally it happens. If it's a female leopard that has that maternal instinct. Adopt it, but as I say, it also helps to hone their skills, just like your domestic house cat. When they do play with their food, that's one of the reasons why they do play with their food. It hones their skills. You can hear the ghost birds calling. Grey-headed bushshrike. Oh, whistle's gone again. It's almost like he is following this other cat, because I think he's come down Weaver's Nest Road, and that's where the cat went. Oh, I'm torn. I'm very torn. It'd be cool to follow him a bit further, but I know some people might want to carry on looking for other things and maybe head through to the hyena den. I'll throw it out to you guys, see what the consensus is. Do you want to stay with the leopard, or should we go to the hyena den? Something could happen, especially if he does find the other cat, but it could be that we just follow him for a little bit more. Okay, we're going to carry on if they're still busy chatting. So I'll throw it out to you guys. Again, you can see he's starting to go a bit lower to the ground. You can see he's actually getting a little bit more concise at where he's placing his feet. Something has caught his attention. I say for me, this is one of the reasons why I do enjoy following cats, because anything is possible. And obviously we don't always get a chance to spend so much time with them. But I'm in your hands, everybody. We'll see what the majority want to do. Again, the wind is in his favour. Can't see again what he is actually looking at. Can you see anything, Andrew? Oh. It was Franklin. Now that he's made his move. Nope. Empty-handed. That's why we couldn't see. I was like looking at the bush going, I'm sure we should be able to see what he's looking at. So when we talk about Franklin's giving the alarm call, you can hear it. Okay, so I think the majority rules. Actually, it sounded like everybody. Everyone's saying stay with the leopard, so we shall stay with the leopards. Okay, Shane, the one person who said hyena den, I think you're overruled, I'm sorry. We will go to the hyena den at some stage, I promise. And I will make sure I do it on morning drive for you. But as I say, it is interesting watching cats making their way through the world. I know Andrew's put in a request to see or spend a bit more time with Ellie's. We've been very, very lucky to see Ellie's. But we haven't had the opportunity to spend too much time with them. Welcome back, everybody. Just watching where this boy's going. Gary, Maine. Squirrels going bonkers again. Yeah, go for it, Andrew. Go for it. You're more than welcome.
He's still in the road. Yeah.
Yeah. He's just gone through the dip. Yeah. So we might lose you as we go through the dip again. So I'm just going to stay here until we lose sight of him. Hi, Sandy. From North Dakota. Sandy wants to know how far we've travelled with him. Well, we picked him up from just the southern side of Gowrie Dam. Then he walked up towards the quarantine area. And we've travelled right the way from the southern side of the quarantine area all the way to the dip on Weaver's Nest. So we're almost at the edge of our boundary. And I didn't actually look at the K count. Actually, I don't have a K count, that's why I didn't look at it. But I'd say we've probably been he's been walking about, 3-4 kilometers, something like that, I'd say. But it just goes to show how far leopards can move. He has gone around the corner, but obviously there's two corners. Has he gone around this side? Yeah. Did he go around this side? Oh, okay. Are you going to carry on again?
Yeah, but you can go, it's fine.
It's fine, honestly, we've obviously been following for quite a while, so if you want to go, you can do.
We'll tag team. Alright. 1-1-1-1.
So that we all get a good view of him. And if you are just joining us, welcome on board and welcome to our live safari. Now we're busy following this quarantine male, that's his name, male leopard in the Sabi Sands, in the world famous Sabi Sands in Djuma Game Reserve. There he goes, trying to spray again. So this is why we do stints going in front, just because sometimes it is difficult for the second vehicle to see. But as I say, we have been seeing quite nicely. And that's also why we pull over to one side each time, so the other vehicle does have a chance to see. But again, sometimes it's not always possible. But this is part of working as a team and making sure that everybody gets a chance to view the animal. And this is exactly how it works on safari. But it's just fantastic to spend the morning following a wild leopard and just watching what he's doing. There's been a few times he's stopped to try and hunt the small things like francolins and squirrels, but not really putting much commitment behind it. But as I say, I think it's because he's had a bushbuck. He finished eating the bushbuck probably early yesterday morning, even through the night. There was nothing left in the tree, absolutely nothing. It is opening up a little bit here. Let's see if we can get in front of him without disturbing him. Far ahead, just for the reasons why I've said earlier, but so this is nice and open, so there's no, I couldn't see any animals up ahead here. A roller just in the tree calling. Something in the bush just up ahead. Aurora not impressed. Having a leopard sitting just below him. I'm just going to see if I can move slightly so we can get a view of him from around the bush. Through there. I'm actually, there might be another pathway through. I'm just going to try and see if I can go a bit further around. Just have another look in the open area here. Again, you can see that tail twitching. And again, ears, nose, everything pointing forward. He is starting to slink off into the bush. And once again, when they've decided to go and stalk, we do try and limit the movement of the vehicles. You'll notice once he's pounced, once he's gone for it, that's when I'll start moving again. But the moment it looks like he's still scouting, he's still not going into full hunt mode yet. You can still see that tail, you can still see he's pretty tall. But once they do go into full stalk mode, just again so that we don't interfere with the hunt and the animals don't get distracted by the vehicles, or the vehicles don't change the behaviour of any animals. That's why we'll stay back. We just have to live with the position that we've chosen and hope that we get to see what's going on. And as soon as they make the charge, then that's it. The animals are all focused and nothing is going to break that. And as long as you don't get in the way of the cat and its quarry, then you shouldn't sway the outcome. But in those critical moments of them actually starting the hunt, then you could potentially change the outcome by moving too much. Again, he's got some nice cover. The wind is still coming towards us, so the wind is still in his favour. Stations in Gway close to Gowrie, Main, still on Weaver's Nest. Still on Weaver's Nest, 2 stations in lock. So you can still, he hasn't gone into stalk mode as yet. Still a quick time to groom. His pace has quickened slightly. You can still see staying in the cover of the trees for now. You see him, Andrew? You can pull in here if you want. You see him?
Yeah, I see him.
Just behind the bush there, yeah.
He's beautiful. Handsome male.
He is. He's got his father's eyes, hey?
Yeah, exactly. Where's Mom?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Go find your mum. He's on
Oh, right, okay. But you basically way north?
Leidenberg.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm studying leopards outside.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
But we don't see them very often.
That's really cool.
And certainly not like this.
No.
Although when they're cubs, when they're small, and we do, when they're about a year old.
Right. Sure, that's so cool. I like his eyes. He's beautiful. Sean.
Can you take over the lock, Andrew? Because I don't know if anyone's actually hearing me.
Yeah.
Were you copying me earlier or not?
No, I copy you.
Oh, you have been?
So,
Okay.
I did copy you, but I think the Rhine, because they got us some lull up there, so...
Okay, whereabouts? Annette's.
I
Okay.
heard that they got some water down there this morning, so everybody right.
Okay. But yeah, if you hear someone calling and I'm not responding, if you could maybe take over, that'd be great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, I'll do that.
So something's just caught his attention.
Yeah, what? Maybe birds.
Yeah, he seems to be going for the small stuff at the moment. He tried for a squirrel just before you met us.
You see, just energy and get going.
Maybe more Franklin.
Yeah, maybe more Franklin.
Because he was just about to start walking and then Sweet caught his attention.
But this one is beautiful, relaxed, and the brother,
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to stick with him for long.
Yeah.
So like, going for bigger stuff.
Yeah. Sorry, who was the done question from? Hi, Patty. Sorry, I got distracted again. He just saw something. Patty, welcome on board to you this morning. Patty wanting to know, just like domestic house cats, they actually bury their dung. Do lions and leopards and cheetahs do the same? And no, they don't. You might have missed this male actually going to the toilet. It's actually been about 3 times now. And for leopards and lions and cheetah, they do use it as a calling card. Especially for the lions and the leopard, it is a territorial marker. For the male cheetah, it is also. But it's a visual sign, and sometimes they'll actually leave it right out on the road so that anyone passing through knows that that's their territory. And as Andrew rightly points out, it was very, very smelly. So there's a lot of chemical signs there, and that's why you will get leopards actually going and sniffing. Now you can see he's actually changed his body language. He's starting to get low. I'm sure you've seen this with your domestic house cat. Trying to get low, keeping that tail low, making sure the twitching tail doesn't give him away. But he's trying to raise his head, so I think it could be a francolin in the bush. He looks like he's getting very close, but he's still hesitant. You can see he's sitting again. And remember, they have all the time in the world. Hi Douglas, welcome on board this morning, all the way from Connecticut. Douglas would like to know, is it not unusual for him to walk this far? Surely it's getting too hot now and he's nice and full. Oh, his belly's definitely not as full as what I thought it was going to look like, so it's already been partially digested. But this is normal, and as I say, that's why you can't really say that leopards are strictly nocturnal, because they can be active during the day. I've actually had pictures, there he goes. I actually have had pictures of the leopards. There was 2 doves. I wonder if he's going after the doves. Did you see that? 2 doves just flew up. He definitely has a fascination for birds. I'd say so. Oh, there's a hole. But yeah, I've had pictures where the female's been active at 42 degrees. Oh well, shame little man. I think it was the dove. He's looking very... empty-handed once again. But the temperature's actually quite pleasant considering what it has been in the last few days. There's quite a lot of cloud buildup now, so we do have a bit of cloud over the sun at the moment. So it could well have been a fairly young bushbuck. That's what we were trying to work out, how old the bushbuck was. So it might have been a young one, and that could be why it's already been digested. So when we were there with him, we were saying at that stage, if it was a young one, it would last him maybe 2 or 3 days. So that could be why he's on the lookout for a small snack. If it was an adult, then about 4 or 5. So it could well have been a young, because again his belly's not as extended as I thought it should have been after an adult. But I think we're almost coming to a part where we might actually part ways with him. It's starting to get fairly thick through there. Nope. I wonder what he found then. Rather than doing the matrix. Hi Hannah in New Jersey, welcome on board this morning. How would a leopard coast before they can climb to safety in the tree? Let's say they can be around certainly 2 months old. They seem to be masters of climbing trees, but they probably will start climbing around maybe 3 or 4, starting to build up their muscles, 3 or 4 weeks old. You can see how well camouflaged he is. But that's also why females will use den sites to hide the cubs away to keep them safe. And that is usually around the first 4 weeks or so. And then once they can climb the trees, then they can actually keep themselves hidden and out of sight. But she'll still move them from area to area, even up until about 1.5 years old. She'll leave them in an area, and then the cubs will actually start wandering off by themselves and checking places out. So when she comes back, she'll give them a contact call, try and relocate them. And sometimes they've just gone too far. No, Shavinzi used to go very far, and Shivambalan would be pretty much where she left him. And Shavinzi would be taking quite a while to respond to her mother's calls. A beautiful boy. I can hear European beaters above our heads. So they haven't gone yet. Hi, Karen in New York. Welcome on board this morning. I'm even going the other side of the turn right now, just to say exactly where we went. Difficult one to answer, Karen. Karen wants to know, do they like the taste of raw meat, or do they just eat it just to survive? I really don't know how to answer that. They seem to prefer the taste of some meats over others. Just like we would have a preference for maybe chicken over steak, or steak over chicken. But as I say, I couldn't honestly say. Unfortunately, they don't really have much of an option. They haven't learnt to cook their food. Trying to drive over, there he is, just up ahead, just over the small saplings, so at least they'll bounce back. There might be a problem. Did you see him? He went that way. Seeing if it's more open to our right. If it's not, this looks like the best pathway through. But I think this might be where we do say goodbye to him, but we'll just see if we can relocate him for you. But it has been absolutely wonderful to spend so much time with him this morning. It really has been. I'm sure you've enjoyed it back home. I saw him go from that kind of an angle. This is open out again this side, so we might be lucky. Hi, Doris in Kentucky. Welcome on board. Doris wants to know if it looks like the quarantine male is actually favouring his right leg. Not that I noticed, to be honest. Did you notice him favouring his right leg? Yeah, I said I didn't notice anything. So for me, he looked fine. Yeah, I think this is it, guys. So it didn't follow exactly where the other cat went. So that did go down to Gary. Oh, hello. Hello, dwarfies. Do you see a leopard pass this way? Andrew, do you have visual? Oh, he does. Okay, he does have visual there. Let's see if we can go and join him. We might have to do a bit of a matrix here. Thought we could get around the side.
Maybe not a good idea.
Sorry, say that again? I'll get to you now. Yeah. I'll have to go back around then. No, no. I was ready for it. He said he was on the left of him. Thousand thanks for anybody who was looking up the amount of leopards in Kruger. Say, it's been 3 years. There's some Yara there on the left. Oh, sorry, it must have been that he was on his right. So thanks for whoever looked up the number of leopards in Kruger. So it has been 3 years. I couldn't quite remember how many there were. I thought maybe 5,000. It's possibly a very big overestimation. Don't worry about these trees, they're going to bend back. Okay, saying is this side. Just up ahead on the right.
Can you see him? More to the right.
A little bit more. Can I maybe pull in front there? Is that going to be okay? Oh, there he is. Oh no, it's fine. No, he's coming out into view. Yeah. Oh, there. Oh, yeah.
Maybe trying to circle around.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't seem to be too bothered by it, does he? Sure, you did well to keep him in sight, eh?
Yeah.
I had him and then I just completely lost him.
Yeah. Luckily, this has been burned down during the winter, so it's open middle.
Yeah, because I actually thought we were going to lose him completely.
But go ahead.
If you want to go ahead, because we've just got to be careful with this aerial. That aerial goes, we go.
He's avoiding.
Yeah, it does, hey? It does look like. So there are some Nyala on the left. I think he's trying to go for something small, so maybe his belly is still fairly full, but he's just looking for that opportunity again. Could just be that cat curiosity, just like your house cat. You ever had it where they've been feeding and then you have something that makes a noise, or if you have one of those toys on a stick or something, and the cat still wants to play even after it's fed? And it could just be the same thing here. That's why he might be going after the small things, just because they're small and interesting. But glad to hear you guys are enjoying the drive. Let's say it's just absolutely fascinating watching animals, and that's really what I just get so much of a thrill about, is watching animal behaviour. And as I say, cats, I think I'm fascinated with because we don't see them very often, and we don't get to spend as much time, because sometimes we do have to make space for other vehicles. So to actually have it for this long, we've been really privileged, and to watch so much behaviour coming through. And as I say, I love doing that with any animals. I can sit with rhino for 2 hours, sit with a herd of elephants. I remember sitting with a bull elephant for a good hour and a half one day. So unfortunately we haven't had the opportunity to sit with the elephants as long. But maybe the opportunity will come, and the hyenas as well. It's been lovely spending time with the hyenas and the babies. There we go, he's just sitting underneath the tree here. So he's really far from the Nyala, so that's what makes me think. So he's just got that cat instinct. Something small catches his attention. But he's not after a really big meal at this stage. Again. It'd be nice if he finds a termite now just to go and sit on. Oh, something else has caught his attention now, unless he is circling the Nyala. He's taking quite a large circle. It'd be interesting if that's what he's doing, because the wind will be wrong for him. Yeah, you see the wind actually is blowing down towards them now. He's got to be careful. Let me just see if I can move slightly. Yeah, this is going to work against him.
There's some impala.
Yeah, I can see there's some impala, but he's not looking down that way. He's looking over his shoulder. But they're just sort of in that open area. Just go around the corner here. We might see him on the termite mound, but he is looking towards the Nyala, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he is looking for his next big meal. Good, it's through there. You see him? Oh no, it is. There's an impala ram. I've just seen him. It's the impala ram that could even be, there might be some females with him. The impala on the left. That's what I was going to say, because surely the wind is just going to be wrong. So he's actually now angled that way. Yeah, he's there. So he's really going into stalk mode now, getting as low as he can. I'm just going to move once more, because he, as I say, he has angled himself that way, so he shouldn't interfere. I'm just going to move forward so we've got hopefully an open view. Yeah, they've gone right out into the open there, but there is still fairly good cover for him. So if we can come out. Here he comes. Just see if he does cross the road. Here he goes. He's just in the bushes. Should be able to see him.
Here he comes.
Yeah, there he goes. He's going to cross the road. Ah, he's been spotted. Shame, little one. And alarm call has been given. Oh, alright then. So it just popped out. I was actually just thinking, I don't recognise. Is it? We're just Twin Downs. Thought we were going to be in that block for quite a while. What was it doing? Stations Ingwe now at Twin Downs. Still 2 stations in lock. There he goes. Going to Gary Main.
Hello everyone. Being out in the bush and being out there live has its technical challenges.
Okay, right out in the open now. Yay! Awesome. So hopefully you're alive and hopefully you're back with us. Unfortunately, just as we got a nice clear view of the quarantine metal again, the signal just dropped, so we've just had to drive along Gary Main to try and get a signal just to say goodbye to you. But I hope you have enjoyed the drive. It's been absolutely fantastic. Thank you for all your questions, and it's just been wonderful to follow the male. He's actually just crossed over the wall, over the road, and went over into the next property. So wonderful to see him. Thank you for joining us here on Wild Earth. From myself, Andrew, Brian and the Thumb, take care. See you this afternoon.